It was there finally. The last evening of the shooting had arrived and the officer trainees were all packed up for their much-awaited Bharat Darshan or a winter study tour. For them, the services and the intent to join services has come with a mission. Of understanding real issues of Aam Aadmi, of understanding of real India. Realistically speaking, how much now you feel close to the common man, to the Aam Aadmi?
Especially the village that village visit component of this entire foundation course. That was one of the most important aspect, because out of 278, around 90 people are from rural background, remaining are from urban background, urban setups. Many of us have not actually seen the villages also. So as the old saying says, that if you want to understand the India, then you have to go villages. So in that case, certainly this component has become quite fruitful.
And for some, the entire training has been an experience of learning and going back to basics. It definitely has been a big experience of sorts.
This IAS is not something that plus 2 or college or something. After this age, you have to appear for college. After finishing plus 2, we are consisting different ages people. Age group is different. Some people have come with some experience. You will not believe, even I am having son. My son is going to school. I am also going to here. So we both have to morning. We have to say congratulations, Papa. All the best for your examination. So it also happens. No, promise it happens. How do you feel? That's why sometimes I feel all my 30 years are waste, because I am also learning A, I, E in Hindi. He is also learning A, I, E in that. So sometimes I am feeling, but anyhow, the continuous education, it goes on crossing 30.
The Academy on its part made it a special moment for them by hosting a formal dinner in all its grandeur, and this was a special evening awaiting them before they would set course for the Bharat Darshan. Academy was present there in full strength, and they all raised the toast in the name of the Academy.
The profession that you have chosen will test your character and ability to the fullest, and will offer you an almost ideal balance between action and contemplation. I wish you all a very successful and honorable career in the service of our country. Thank you.
The civil servants wield a phenomenal amount of power, and with this power, needless to say, comes responsibility. The responsibility of formulating and implementing these policies, hence the task of nation building, which comes with their job.
Core idea, the simple ideas that lie behind our nation and our constitution, and then protect and preserve in your day-to-day work, in your administration, protect and preserve those values if we are to save this nation.
But there is certainly much more to their job than this.
I had a passion for service from the childhood, and I was associated with an NGO also at my college. So now I just feel that my interest for service has been just converted into my profession.
To be very frank, I had never thought to be IAS, especially in my college days. This was only last year when I actually started preparing for this exam.
If we can bring changes in the education system of the country, mainly related to primary education and probably healthcare. So I think if as a country we tackle these two issues, so it's possible that we achieve a much better growth than we have today, because lots of people are deprived, and the only way that we can get out of poverty is through tackling these two issues, mainly related to education and primary healthcare.
You decided to be a bureaucrat. What really made you choose that part of your life?
Sometimes when we are thinking that responsibility, really I'm thinking whether my decision is right or not. Because when we are attending classes from such a senior bureaucrats, they are telling we have managed this, we have managed this. So such a huge responsibility is ahead of us. Sometimes I feel whether my decision is right or not, whether I have taken such a huge decision in a short span of time. But I'm thinking, yes, my decision is right, because I'm also capable. I think I'm capable. Because it is.
So you get a little apprehensive.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, yeah. What about you?
And the similar question was posed to me in the interview also, and I said that most of the time what I do feel is that life is a game of probabilities.
Okay.
The circumstances in which I found myself in, middle class setup, father's dream, mother's dream, these things.
Was it your dream as well?
I'm not sure.
Are you sure today?
Still I'm not sure.
What would you really attribute to the academy? How much has this academy really changed you?
Yeah, one is obviously the theoretical knowledge which we are getting from here. But more important is like, as you were saying, time management and awareness of various ethical, moral issues. Like we had a session today about it. And till we come here, even though we know there are a lot of issues involved, we don't really think about it and the dimensions and depth. And then the fact that they expose you to so many things in such a short period of time, you learn so many new things about yourself, things you didn't know you were capable of. But like a lot of people, I think, because of various activities, have taken up new hobbies, and all these will be useful.
And then finally, what next now for them? The foundation course got over. The next phase is on, and that too shall get over. But for them, there's a beginning for a new journey. So this is next for them. But what about the challenges now when you go out of the academy? What, according to you, are the real challenges that you would confront and also tackle them?
I think two major challenges which the system, what I would face, would be, one is my fear of political intervention and interference, and the other would be the slightly antiquated technology which the bureaucracy is faced with. So my vision would be to upgrade maybe the technology and increase transparency and accountability.
I think that the most important challenge that I'm going to face is the lethargy in the system. That is the most important thing. So I'm not a reformer. I'm not going to do major things. I'm going to do small little things. First and most thing is motivation of the people who are working with us, who are working under us. It's a team effort that only can remove this lethargy. Lethargy is the most important thing for me to remove from the present India.
I think one major challenge which bureaucracy is going to face in coming years is the crisis which the governance in this country is facing because of the increasing political awareness of the people. It is a positive thing in one sense, but the increasing tendency in the people to take law into their own hands. On small issues, even on triple issues, dharna pradarshan, rasta roko, on these type of things, which are a hurdle in the face, create law and order problems, and even above this tendency is not a healthy tendency.
Bureaucracy is about power is just a perception as we hear them out. For them, it's more about the sentiment of serving the nation. It's about service. Perhaps that's why they are called civil servants. Now, finally, if you could tell me why you chose where you are right now. Of course, a big decision, but is really bureaucracy all about power? There's something much more to it. You decided to be a bureaucrat. What really made you choose that part of your life?
Challenges, one, how to handle political interference, and second, the dilemma of development versus disintegration, whether that of environment or the living conditions of the people. And vision would be how to bring in more efficiency in implementation.
For me, challenges will be two. First will be how to keep your internal motivation always high, as with the motivation which we enter into the service, how to keep it intact. And the second will be how to keep your sensitization towards people in its intact form.
We have to take very quick decisions because most of the decisions in the government are slow, and we need to be very efficient. And the other challenge I can see is as somebody elaborated, it's the motivation of the employees. We need to have a committed, more motivated employees working so that the goals of the government can be realized. And as a vision, I think we should have more inclusive development. We cannot have some areas which are completely neglected and some areas which are shining.
They agreed people's faith in the current bureaucratic system is dwindling because of the growing corrupt practices in bureaucracy becoming the order of the day. They also agreed that time for a change had now arrived.
It's more than 60 years of independence. I would not like to make a change or modify anything. But the thing is, there have been many administrators for the past 60 years. They are making policies. The problem is in the implementation. I would like to do two things only. First is I would like to increase the functional literacy. People are literate, but they are not functionally literate. They are not aware of what are their rights. In a village, people are literate. They read newspapers. Even then, they don't know how to make use of those rights. There are systems in the place, but they are not making the right use of the systems. Second is I am an electrical engineer. So I would like to place such systems in the place where there is like less use of people, so that there can be neutral technology.
One is innovation, because when the system is the same, when the components of system in political or when a DM is already there, when I go there, the system is going to be the same, the people are going to be the same. So the change can be brought about only if there is innovation. That is how different we are going to tackle the execution part. So that is the first major thing. Second major thing is increasingly there is a trend towards political, towards taking a political side. So second major challenge is staying political. Increasingly, bureaucracy is assumed to be, favorable to few politicians or few political ruling dispensations. So I believe the major challenge would be in terms of staying politically neutral. The major vision that I see for our country is how we can reduce the role of middlemen, not only in bureaucracy but also in political executive. So if we reduce the middlemen, one medium can be through internet or something, e-governance. So if we reduce the role of middlemen, I think a lot of issues can be tackled.
And it's also often debated that bureaucracy is or really is not really vulnerable to the political intervention, to the political influence. As the Gen X bureaucrat, do you really think we can really get rid of that, or do you think that this political intervention issue is really blown out of proportion?
Bureaucrats are public servants, but at the same time, we have to recognize the role that a politician has to play. He is accountable to the people. He has the responsibility of representing the people somewhere. So I don't think there should be any scope for conflict between the political executive and the bureaucracy. I don't think there's a scope for that. I believe these are just perceptions and stories and legends created in the public domain.
We have seen media trials and we have seen media activism, and do you think all that is really making a big change? Any difference?
I think the media has to recognize its role. It necessarily doesn't have to always be a detractor of what the bureaucracy is doing. Essentially, usually what happens is that there's a tendency on part of the media to focus on the negative aspects of the bureaucracy. I think this is the time when we work in liaison, in cooperation with each other. I think this is the time when you highlight and you encourage the positive practices that are undergoing presently in the bureaucracy as well. Well, Sakal, I think the UPSC civil service aspirants, I think they do utilize the DD News and particularly this national broadcaster as an important resource for their preparations. This is due to the sheer nature of the news that DD News provides you, the kind of information that comes from there. The responsibility for making this country is ours. I think we should stop passing on the buck that these generations that have passed, they have been responsible for ruining the country. I think it's the time to put our flock together and put our act together and work in cohesion with each other and work for the progress of the country.
And this perhaps is the biggest India advantage. This is India's advantage.